Hey guys, this is Vysh from Vysh. So our Satish Chandra series for medieval Indian history. We are going to continue chapter 3, that is the Chola Empire, South India, 9 to 12 AD. Okay, we had done chapter 2 last time, which is the Kannauj Triangle, the North Indian kingdoms. So it will be a continuation, and like that we'll try to continue. And about how or when we'll continue this, we do not have an answer right now. Okay, whenever we do, lectures will be free on YouTube, because that also we have been getting queries like whether we have any paid course for videos and all. We don't have it as of now, because we want students to actually do the textbooks, but we are just trying to help you out by making out videos also for that. Okay, because our Spectrum series has been a huge hit, and students are like, I think 99% of people who watch that video will not even go to the textbook, because they know when they read 2 chapters from the textbook, they will know like much more has been covered in my videos. Okay, but ancient history we covered after that, and medieval I'm not sure whether we'll be able to complete before prelims, because we are not doing it continuously because of the workload in the background. Okay, we are held up with the 2019 batch, both me and ma'am. We are daily correcting papers or setting the question papers for the next one. We have mains test series, which is right now closed, because that also I have to tell you, because we get queries daily whether something, the batch 3 or something is going to launch, but we don't have mains program as of now. A mains mini test series is in pipeline. Maybe if it is being announced, it will be announced through YouTube only. Okay, so that is about that. And next 2-3 minutes I want to tell you something else also about the preparation level for 2019. So if you are a very serious aspirant, you can listen to that, else you can just forward 2-3 minutes and then directly go to the lecture. Okay, so why I'm going to say is because we conduct polls. Okay, like you see on the screen, we conduct on a YouTube channel under the community tab. We frequently conduct polls just to see like how the students are approaching this exam, or how much they are serious. Okay, because there are at least lakhs and lakhs of students every year who apply for this. Okay, but only thousands of them are actually serious. That too, who decided to give UPSC by their own. Meaning it's not like because their seniors done it, or because it's a prestigious job, or like it is being forced upon them by parents, or somebody told you will have good salary, good these things. Only a very few people are actually into this because they want this position to do something good for the nation. Okay, they want to contribute something. So those people, obviously, without even being pushed by someone else, they will download the syllabus, they will download the notification, they will do everything what is the basic pre-work which we did. Okay, the preparation work before even contacting a mentor or before even talking to someone else. They will at least do this basic research. Okay, that is I know it because I interact with that many students every day. And another thing is like there are the totally opposite kind of students also, who simply knows that they need UPSC, but they won't do any basic work. They want everything to be spoon-fed. Such people are obviously the ones who fall for the coaching ads also. They are ready to give 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakh, whatever, shift from their home, go to Delhi or wherever. Many cities, metro cities, almost every cities now, they have huge coaching centers. So we are not telling it is bad, but if you expect the coaching center to do everything for you, then you will not clear. Okay, I'm not even telling may not clear, you will not clear, because this exam needs at least 80 to 90% coming from within you. Okay, the coaching centers and test series, everything can do only extra 10% for you, which is also important. Okay, you cannot skip it, but if you don't have that 90% within you, if you don't do in and out, day in and day out, okay, and it's not like the last 30 days or 60 days I'll grab lot of toppers notes and then by heart, you are not going to clear it. Okay, you will not clear. You should realize it at least now. That is why I'm telling it so strictly. Okay, with less than 180 days, if you are thinking like, okay, let it become 100 days, let it become 80 days, and then you will by heart, you are not going to clear, because UPSC from 2016 onwards have been like on top of everyone. Okay, any coaching institute, any topper, anyone, because one topper's words, you cannot believe it and go to the next exam, because next year it is drastically changing. The pattern, the syllabus, everything is same, but the question formation is becoming very unexpected. Okay, you will not even imagine like such a question, how are they framing it. Okay, and you cannot blame it also because it is part of the syllabus also. Okay, like a very simple example about maps, I will tell you. Map question used to come like at least from the 80s or 90s. Maps question are coming like basic, like either Southeast China Sea, South China Sea, or the Middle East region, or African countries, or the Indian Ocean. These are the basic things which UPSC used to ask, and coaching centers questions are devised in and around that. Okay, 2016-17 onwards, what they asked is, I'll tell you one question example. It's like from Kottayam to Kohima, if you are going, how many states you have to touch. Okay, So it's like, it's not a current affair. They have just made up a question like Kottayam is not in news, Kohima is not in news. It's like generically it will be in news, but it's not a specific news current affair question like how UPSC asks. Okay, so they want you to know the entire states, like where all states are located, because like Kottayam is not like any metro city or any famous city or district inside Kerala. Okay, it is just one of the district where I think the rubber board will be there. Rubber board of India is I think located there. I'm not sure. You can recheck it. So that is the only one factual information which, if at all a student is learning about Kottayam, they will learn. Okay. So Kottayam to Kohima, you need answer is I think around 7 states. So people who know the map by heart, they will know it. But UPSC did not ask such a question before. So that is one of a new framing. Okay, I'm not telling it's like something very shocking or something. People can solve it, but it's a new method. So next year what happened is coaching institutes framed all questions that type. Okay, like if you go from here to there, if you go from there to here, or if you go through Tropic of Cancer, what all you will touch. So UPSC did that. Sorry, coaching institutes did that. So what did UPSC come up with in the next year, 2018? They asked a question like which city among the following falls under the latitude of Delhi? Sorry, longitude of Delhi. Okay, Delhi is there. If you draw a straight line through Delhi, which of the following in the options will lie on the same line as Delhi? Okay, this also again, it's not like Delhi is just a capital. It's not like something, any event or any festival or something. It's nothing. They just made up a map question. Okay, so and the options too. Options were very close. Okay, like Bangalore, Hyderabad, I think Noida and Nasik or something. Everything, if you see, it's like maybe 1 degree or even less than 1 degree difference in longitude. Okay, that is how they framed the options. So UPSC, maybe they framed it in such a way that they want the smart students to leave that question if you don't know, so that you don't make it negative. So what I'm telling is, this is one question which came. Now this year UPSC coaching institute, if you take, they will take hundreds of questions like that. What lies in the longitude of Guwahati, what lies in the latitude of that thing. So they'll make you do all these things. Okay, and you will by heart this also, and you will have satisfaction that yeah, I am doing as per 2018 paper. But now 2019, UPSC will come up with totally something new. We are sure that something new will come. We ourselves cannot predict it, but we'll keep trying. Okay, whenever whoever forms test series, they will try something new. But if you see somewhere like they are doing the same thing which have been done in the just previous year to that, that's not going to come. Okay, we are saying based on the experience. Okay, 2016, 17, 18, we have been closely watching, and that is why our test series are like modified and updated every particular year. Okay, and the number of tests also, if you see, we are the ones who are offering the most number of tests, meaning the most number of tests in GS. Any other test series you take, it will have at least how much? It will have at least 40 tests. Okay, I think maximum 40 tests, out of which at least 5 or 6 will be CSAT. So remaining 32, 34 tests you are getting. 3200 MCQ is the only thing you are getting for GS. Okay, so we have 6500 MCQs, which is purely GS. We don't even care about making a test series for CSAT. Okay, because CSAT is something like out of 80 questions you do 25 or something you will clear. You need just 33%. Okay, that anyone who knows basic English and basic puzzle solving skills, you will do it. You don't need even to study. Maybe if you want, you can do the last year's paper and go just before the exam. Okay, 2018's paper, take it and solve it. It will take maximum 2 hours time. That's the only thing you need to do for CSAT. Okay. Why I'm telling all these things, because I'm not getting time to make separate videos in my Thursday tips or whatever which I do. Okay, like today is Thursday, so I'm supposed to make a video, but there I'm not able to talk. Okay, I'm mostly putting some slides. I have to type it all and then I'm putting it out through some animation or something. Okay, so today I felt like talking to you and telling all these things. That is why I'm telling you, buy test series from whichever source, but you have to do MCQ solving, because the more and more you get exposure to different variety of MCQs, the more you will understand that UPSC is tough. Okay, else if you still by heart the same pattern, same thing from previous years, or the mock questions which is not of high standard, you will think like till the day of exam you will be like very confident, and you will be thinking like I'll clear. You will easily get that cutoff mark of 50% or whatever UPSC does, but on the exam day you will be in shock. Okay, so that is why maximum MCQs, we recommend the number 10,000. Okay, 10,000 MCQs including previous year papers. Okay, 1995 onwards, if you do previous year papers itself, that itself is like much more, like you will get 2000 to 3000 MCQs there itself. Okay, so do everything right from now. Don't wait like I have to complete syllabus or something, because that is one sentence we often hear, like I will complete my syllabus and then do this thing. There is no one in this planet who can complete UPSC syllabus. Okay, that is a word from me. Okay, because UPSC syllabus is something, the first line of UPSC syllabus, you download it today again and then read it again. The first line itself in the UPSC syllabus is every event of national and international importance. Okay, every event of national and international. So after that, whatever they type in the syllabus doesn't matter. Anything which here our Indian government does, or anything which the US government or the NATO or anyone does, it is all part of your syllabus, and that is like added every day. Okay, to current affair, every day something is getting added. So you completing your syllabus means maybe if you're taking static also, you cannot complete static as well. Okay, because if it's mentioned 1857 revolt, how much ever you learn from 5 textbooks also, UPSC can make a question from that particular same textbook which you read, which you cannot solve. They have done it already last year by complicating the questions of Champaran Satyagraha or subsidiary alliance and all, which students felt like it was very easy, but when they read the options, 2 or 3 options will be like very close. Okay, they are trying to check your analytical skills more than the by-hearting skills or knowledge skill. Okay, maybe those who have written the exam last year will be clearly able to connect whatever I said now. If it's new students, 2019 students, when you solve the 2017, 18, 16 papers, 3 papers when you do, everything what I tell will be like directly hitting you. Okay, you will clearly understand. Because I see that most mentors are not telling you this. Okay, very seriously they are not telling you. They'll just tell, okay, do this, do that, but they are not telling you why this is being stressed upon. So at least today, okay, please, I think December 13th or 14th, something today date. So please start at least today. Don't think you have 6 months. 6 months will go very fast. Okay, for a serious aspirant, it's like very fast. You will not even realize that time has reached. So please be very serious in solving the exams. Okay, solving test papers, writing mains, whatever. Unfortunately, we have closed our mains batch, so we cannot conduct mains new enrollments. But prelims is still open. If you want our test series, you can get that. Else, whichever good source you have, please get them and start. If you understand things, understand, but there are many things which you have to by heart also. Okay, like many things will be like the eligibility criteria of this CVC, CIC, polity things. It's like you have to by heart it only, like who is 6 years term, who is 5 years term and all. So that also through our revision charts and all, we have tried to make it simple. But whichever source you are studying, you need to start by hearting also. Even now, okay, UPSC is not only about understanding. There is a lot of by hearting factor also. There are much more factual things like cultural, dances, folk arts, everything. Okay, so maybe rest of things I'll tell you in a separate video, because this is meant to be a lecture video. So these are, again, you can pause and see, it's our usual test series thing which is there out almost everywhere. Even the link which will be there in this description box, you can see there for the whatever is open from Vysh. Okay, lectures, as I said, it will be free and I'll do it whenever I get time. Okay, so let's continue, because I think already we took a lot of time. So Chola Empire, 9th to 12th century AD. Okay, the Chola Empire, I'll be reading. Okay, I'll be reading it very fast, but whenever it is like factual thing or needed for prelims, I'll repeat it one more time. Okay, the Chola Empire, which arose in the 9th century, brought under its control a large part of the peninsula. The Cholas developed a powerful navy which enabled them to develop India's sea trade in the Indian Ocean and to conquer Sri Lanka and Maldives Islands. Their influence was felt even in the countries of Southeast Asia. The Chola Empire may be said to mark a climax in South Indian history. Okay, so this 9th to 12th century, they are just giving a brief in this 1 or 2 lines. Like Cholas had a powerful navy, they had strong hold in the Indian Ocean up to Sri Lanka, Maldives and Southeast Asia, and it's like a climax in South Indian history. Okay, not very difficult, it's just a introduction of, okay, like how was their span. Okay, now the rise of Chola Empire. The founder of Chola Empire was Vijayalaya. Okay, this is important because the founders are often very not so famous people. Okay, because when we tell Chola Empire, we'll remember Rajaraja Chola, Rajendra Chola and all, but this founder we often tend to forget. Okay, because in UPSC what they'll do is Rajaraja formed or founded, established Chola Empire. They'll put a hard statement there, and then 1 and 2, 2 and 3, that they will play. So that time this Vijayalaya may not strike you. If you see Vijayalaya, maybe you will remember, but they will not purposely put that name in the options. Okay, so that is why you need to remember every dynasty. Okay, whatever we did in the last chapter also, Rashtrakutas or I don't remember what all we did, but all those kingdoms, the founder will be mostly not so famous person. Okay, so try to make a table and then by heart all these names. Okay, just day before prelims, just glance through it, you will remember. Okay, but you should make a note. Don't watch this video again from starting to end. So Vijayalaya, who was a first a feudatory of the Pallavas. Okay, so this is also again a general trend, like he will be a chief or a governor or something under some other dynasty, and then he will rise up with his own kingdom. That happens everywhere. Okay, late medieval also it happens. So Vijayalaya under Pallavas, he established the Chola. Now he captured Tanjore in 850 AD. By the end of the 9th century, the Cholas had defeated both the Pallavas of Kanchi and weakened the Pandyas. Okay, Pandya, the region will be Madurai. Okay, this match the following UPSC used to ask in the 90s, like Pallavas, Kanchipuram, Pandya, Madurai, then Chola will be Tanjore, like that. Okay, so bringing the southern Tamil country, Tonda Mandala, under their control. Okay, but the Cholas were hard put to defend their position against the Rashtrakutas. As we have noted in the previous chapter, Krishna III defeated Chola king, and the next, the northern part of the Chola Empire. Okay, so this again, it's a continuation of last chapter, like the Krishna III got this northern area of Chola Empire. This was a serious setback to Cholas, but they rapidly recovered. Okay, so even though Krishna III tried, they recovered. Okay, Cholas recovered, particularly after the death of Krishna III. Okay, because after Krishna III, there is no much big rulers there in Rashtrakuta. 965 AD is the downfall of Rashtrakuta. So that is how it's the beginning of Chola Empire. Vijayalaya, the place name, Rashtrakuta tried, and they recovered. Cholas recovered. Age of Rajaraja and Rajendra I, the greatest Chola rulers. Okay, these people, these are timeline. At least an idea you should have, at least because chapter name is like this, you will remember hopefully. Okay, Rajaraja had been appointed heir apparent in his father's lifetime and had extensive experience of administration and warfare before his accession to the throne. Rajaraja destroyed the Chera navy at Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram, and attacked Quilon or Kollam. Okay, he then conquered Madurai and captured the Pandyan king. See here, Madurai Pandya. Okay, what I told. So he also invaded Sri Lanka and annexed its northern part to his empire. These moves were partly motivated by his desire to bring the trade with Southeast Asian countries under his control. So overall, it's like everywhere. Okay, almost every South Indian states, kingdoms, and also Southeast Asia. The Coromandel coast, that is the eastern one, and Malabar, which is the western, were the centers of Indian trade with the countries of Southeast Asia. One of his naval exploits was the conquest of the Maldives Islands. Okay, so this is also there. So if you see almost everything, so it's like very easy. Anything comes in option, almost everything they captured. Now Rajaraja annexed the northwestern parts of the Ganga kingdom in northwest Karnataka. Okay, Ganga kingdom, northwest Karnataka, and overran the Vengi. Rajendra I carried forward the annexationist policy of Rajaraja. Okay, Rajendra I, who is succeeding this person, Rajaraja, again did the same thing. Okay, Pandya, Chera, Sri Lanka. I am not reading everything. It's everything. Okay, almost everything. So for another 50 years, it was under Chola control. So they both did the same thing. Now Rajaraja and Rajendra I marked their victories by erecting a number of Shiva and Vishnu temples at various places. Okay, this is one method what they do. Like you know, like later when Mughals will come, if they have a victory or something, they'll set up that pillars. Or even Ashoka did that pillar, or now Mughals also will have gateways or something like that, a mosque, something will be there. So these people did Shiva and Vishnu temple whenever they had victory. The most famous of these were the Rajarajeshwara temple at Tanjore, which was completed in 1010. Okay, so here it's like your art and culture part. They can go deep into this thing also, because last year they had that also. Like they gave the temple name or a mosque name, and right side they gave the material of which it was made, like marble or granite or stone. They went into that level. You can get it from the CCRT website. Just Google CCRT. You will get every temple. Just make a table. Like this is made of this is made of that. It will hardly take half an hour time. But these are things which you should do. Okay, yourself. That is what I told in the beginning of this video. Basic serious students will do all these things themselves, because they know, they have been seeing the previous year question papers, and it comes to them when they read one line. They understand like, okay, this particular line, this question will come. Okay, like how I am pausing and telling, that is how you should also be able to tell. Okay, so we'll continue. The Chola rulers adopted the practice of having long inscriptions written on the walls of these temples, giving a historical narrative of their victories. This is why we know a great deal more about the Cholas than their predecessors. Okay, so that is why we have, like, historians know that much things, because they themselves used to write a lot of things on their temple walls. One of the most remarkable exploits in the reign of Rajendra I was the march across Kalinga to Bengal, in which the Chola armies crossed the Ganga and defeated two local kings. This expedition, which was led by Chola general, took place in 1022 and followed the same route which the great conqueror Samudragupta had followed. Okay, so in ancient history I told Samudragupta going to that direction, Bengal region and all. So same path this Chola general also took, and they crossed Ganga and reached there because they are coming from south. So such things, okay, very basic things, just like a story you understand. To commemorate this occasion, Rajendra I assumed the title of Gangai Konda Chola, or the Chola conqueror of Ganga. Okay, so it's Rajendra I. Okay, this title matching also, it's a very old type of question of UPSC, but we cannot say, maybe to 2019 they will again ask. So Rajendra I is Gangai Konda Chola. Okay, I think I have one revision chart for this also, like titles and kings. Okay. So he built the new capital near the mouth of the Kaveri and called it Gangai Konda Cholapuram, or the city of the Chola conqueror of Ganga rulers. Again, they crossed Ganga, so that is the term for that city and that person. Okay, Rajendra I. As even more remarkable exploit in the time of Rajendra I was the naval expedition against the revived Sri Vijaya Empire. The Sri Vijaya Empire, which had been revived in the 10th century, extended over the Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Java, and the neighboring islands. Okay, so the Sri Vijaya, if you see one more time next time, you should immediately click, like you should know, like it is the Southeast Asia. Okay, the Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Java and all. Sumatra 2016 map based question came. Okay, again it was a weird question for the first time it came. I think which is closest to the Nicobar island, something like that was the thing, and they gave Sumatra, Java, Bali, everything were Indonesian islands in the options. Okay, and I think Sri Lanka was there, I think, so like that. Okay, so it was little difficult if people have not seen the map at all. Else it was easy because they know like Sumatra is on top, and so Sumatra was the answer. So again, the rulers of the Sailendra dynasty were Buddhist and had cordial relation with the Cholas. The Sailendra ruler had built a Buddhist monastery at Nagapattinam, and at his instance, Rajendra I had endowed a village for its upkeep. So this also it's a usual thing whenever you set up a temple or monastery, the funds for the upkeep, okay, how you will maintain it, you will need a village or the taxes from a particular village. So that will be assigned. So that same way, this Buddhist monastery also was assigned a village as a tax source for this thing, okay, by Rajendra I for this Buddhist monastery. The cause of the breach between the two apparently was the Chola eagerness to remove obstacles to Indian traders and to expand Chola trade with China. Okay. So these are reasons, like China is also being focused. So if you see Chola almost everywhere, okay, Bengal, China, Southeast, Maldives, Sri Lanka, everywhere we have touched upon, okay. The expeditions led to the conquest of Kadaram or Kedah and a number of other places in the Malay Peninsula and Sumatra. Okay, this Kadaram and Kedah is also somewhere in the Southeast Asia. The Chola navy was strongest in the area for some time, and the Bay of Bengal was converted into a Chola lake. Okay, so it's like philosophically they are telling it's like just a lake for them because they are like having strong hold there. The Chola rulers also sent a number of embassies to China. These were partly diplomatic and partly commercial. Chola embassies reached China in 1016 and 1033. Okay, again timeline. The Chola embassy of 70 merchants reached. These numbers are not important, but at least you should know the 1000 AD or 1100 AD. People were going here and there. Okay, from here to there and there to here. And these numbers are always exaggerated, so it doesn't matter. Okay, you don't have to by heart. But here, this articles exchange, okay, glassware, camphor, brocades, rhinoceros horns, ivory, you would at least remember this because UPSC have asked last year, 2018, like what were the things which Britishers exported from Indian land or something. So they were like weird choices like pepper, saltpeter, cotton, jute, something else. So if you read the NCERT, it was solvable. Same way, if you have read this one now, Satish Chandra, you can solve this also. If UPSC asks, okay, what were the things which are exchanged between Chola and Chinese? So you should know glassware, camphor, brocades, rhinoceros horns, ivory, etc. Okay, so this is how, because I have seen all the question papers, I am able to immediately tell you, okay, this is what you also should do. See the question papers and syllabus first and then study anything which you want. Whatever you study, you will study the right way. Else you will be not knowing what to focus, what not to focus. Okay. Okay, let's continue. So tribute was the word used by Chinese for the all articles bought for trade. Okay, so tribute is not the actual meaning which we think. Okay, tribute is like anything which is exchanged in trade is considered as tribute. Okay. So after that, the Chola rulers fought constantly with the Chalukyas who had succeeded the Rashtrakutas. Okay, so after Rashtrakutas there were someone called Chalukyas. Okay, it's actually later Chalukyas because before Rashtrakutas there was the actual Chalukyas. Okay, which we studied already. This is later Chalukyas. Okay, and their capital is Kalyani. Okay, this is also one way UPSC will confuse you. They'll give Chalukyas and in the right side they'll give Kalyani, but that will be wrong. Okay, because this is actually later Chalukyas, which is a different, altogether different kingdom. Okay, Kalyani is the capital. If you know what was the actual capital of the actual Chalukyas, tell me in comment section, okay, because I have already taught you in multiple videos. The Cholas and the later Chalukyas clashed for the overlordship of Vengi, okay, Rayalaseema. Okay, this Rayalaseema, Vengi, here, if you see here, I have already told you Vengi, okay, not just Karnataka. So, again, this new name, old name, these kind of different names and all UPSC have asked, but I don't know whether everybody can remember everything. Try to make notes. The Tungabhadra, Doab and the Ganga ruled country in the northwest Karnataka. Again, regions in and around Karnataka they are telling, okay, because the clash between Cholas and later Chalukyas. Neither side was able to gain a decisive victory in the contest, and ultimately it exhausted both the empires. Okay, so both came to an end. It also appears that the wars were becoming harsher during the time. The Chola rulers sacked and plundered Chalukyan cities, including Kalyani, and massacred the people, including Brahmanas and children. They adopted a similar policy in the Pandya country, setting military colonies to overawe the population. They destroyed Anuradhapur, the ancient capital of the rulers of Sri Lanka. Okay, again, maybe match the following can come, and treated their king and queen harshly. These are blots in the history of the Chola Empire. Okay, so these are something which shows like they even went to the extreme end of like very like violent methods. Okay, so however, once they had conquered a country, the Cholas tried to set up a sound system of administration in it. Okay, so to acquire it will be harsh, but once they get it, it will be like a very stable system. Okay. One of the remarkable features of Chola administration was their encouragement of the local self-government in the villages all over the empire. Okay, this local self-government of Chola have even come as a mains question. Okay, so you know how much important it is. Okay, they can again ask it, maybe not very soon, but after 2-3 years they'll again ask it. Okay, for mains. The Chola Empire continued in a flourishing condition during the 12th century, but it declined during the early part of 13th century. The later Chalukyan Empire in the Maharashtra area had also come to end during the 12th century. Okay, as we told, like both clashed with each other and both ended almost the same time. The place of Cholas was taken by the Pandyas and the Hoysalas. Okay, so this order, if you should know, okay, later Chalukyas, Cholas were almost the same time, Rashtrakutas were before this, Hoysalas are after this. Okay, so at least that idea you should have. You don't have to remember like it is like 10, 11, 12, that numbers is okay, but at least the order you should know. Okay, so and of the later Chalukyas by the Yadavas and the Kakatiyas. Okay, so these are again new kingdoms which came later. These states extended patronage to art and architecture. Unfortunately, they weakened themselves by continuously fighting against each other, sacking the towns and not even sparing the temples. Ultimately, they were destroyed by the sultans of Delhi in the beginning of the 14th century. Okay, so if you see, we often see like for political reasons and all, we see like Muslims came from outside and destroyed temples and all. But here, if you see, even the Hindus who were fighting with each other, even before the Muslims entered India, they were also destroying the temples. Okay, so it's like not any religious intention. It's like it is where the wealth is there, or it is like the symbol of power. So you destroy it. Obviously, if you want to take capture of a land, you will destroy the most powerful building there. That's all. So adding a religious angle to it is all political agenda which happens nowadays, and that is being like debated by all our intellectual youths over the Facebook. Okay, so at least you people who are studying all these things at least should not go into that range. Okay, you should not participate in such cheap debates or something and waste your time. Okay, because people who are doing that have zero knowledge of our history. Okay. So we'll go to Chola government. The king was the most important person in the Chola administration. All authority rested in his hands, but he had a council of ministers to advise him. The kings often went on tours in order to keep better touch with the administration. The Cholas maintained a large army consisting of elephants, cavalry, infantry, which were called the three limbs of the army. Okay, so elephant, cavalry, and infantry. Okay, so everything. Okay, there. The infantry was generally armed with spears. Most of the kings and bodyguards who were sworn to defend the kings even at the cost of their lives. The Venetian traveler Marco Polo. Okay, these travelers are also very important. We have a table revision chart of at least I think 15 travelers and the timeline in which they came. So if you don't have it, either get it from us or you make your own. Okay. So Marco Polo, who visited Kerala in the 13th century, says that all the soldiers in the bodyguard burnt themselves in the funeral pyre of the monarch when he died. Okay, so it's showing the loyalty or maybe I don't know, too much commitment by the soldiers to the king. Okay. So it's like here it's told like it's like exaggeration, maybe exaggeration. Okay, the Cholas also had a strong navy, as we have seen, which dominated the Malabar and Coromandel coast, and for some time the entire Bay of Bengal. Okay, so again Chola, like overall, understanding from this paragraph is king is the strongest one, but he keeps in touch with everyone, and everyone are committed to him. And Marco Polo came. Okay, this is the four key keywords. This is how you learn a textbook. Okay, you should take away something from every line which you read. Okay, the Chola Empire was divided into mandalams. Okay, this is what the main question came, the local administration. Mandalams or provinces, and these in turn were divided to, I think Valanadu, we'll see in the next page. Okay, and Nadu, yeah, it will be Valanadu. Okay, Valanadu and Nadu. Sometimes princes of the royal family were appointed governors of the provinces. Officials were generally paid by giving them assignments of revenue bearing lands. Okay, so this also UPSC used to ask whether they were paid in cash and kind. So it's mentioned like officials were given revenue lands. Okay, meaning revenue bearing lands. They will be administering that. The Chola rulers built a network of royal roads which are useful for trade as well as for movement of the army. Trade and commerce flourished in the Chola Empire, and there were some gigantic trade guilds which traded with Java and Sumatra. Okay, again same story. The Cholas also paid attention to irrigation. The river Kaveri and other rivers were used for the purpose. Many tanks for irrigation were built. Some of the Chola rulers carried out an elaborate survey of land in order to fix the government share of land revenue. So if you see, like almost every kind of administrative work they have done. Okay, building infrastructure, building irrigation tanks, building roads. Okay, and doing the survey of land also. We do not know precisely the government share was. Okay, so again detailing we don't know, but they did everything. In addition to land tax, the Chola rulers drew their income from tolls on trade, taxes on professions, and also from the plunder of the neighboring territories. Okay, this also they can put 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. They'll give what all kind of revenue they had. So almost they had everything. Okay, land tax is there, tolls are there, taxes are there on different professions. Okay, so that all they'll give different professions and ask. So since it's mentioned generic, it will be like everyone had to pay tax. Okay, and also from the plunder of neighboring territories. The Chola rulers were wealthy and could afford to build a number of towns and magnificent monuments, including temples. We have already referred to local self-government in the villages in some areas in the Rashtrakuta Empire. Okay, We know more about village government in the Chola Empire from a number of inscriptions. So as I said, they had a lot of inscriptions, that is why we know much more. We hear of two assemblies called the Ur and the Sabha or Mahasabha. The Ur was a general assembly of the village. Okay, general assembly of the village is Ur. Okay, however, we know more about the working of the Mahasabha. This was a gathering of the adult men in the Brahmana villages. Okay, so general assembly is Ur, okay, like everyone, and this adult men in the Brahmana villages is the Mahasabha, okay, which were called Agraharas also. This was asked, I think, okay, what does it mean? So Agraharas, Mahasabha, Ur, okay, and here we learned Nadu, Valanadu, Mandalam and all these things. Try to recollect. These were villages settled by the Brahmanas in which most of the land was rent-free. These villages enjoyed a large measure of autonomy. Okay, this is also important line, large measure of autonomy. Okay, the affairs of the village was managed by a executive committee to which educated persons owning property were elected either by drawing lots or by rotation. Okay, so it's like you need to have property to get elected. Okay, these members had to retire every 3 years. There were other committees for helping in the assessment and collection of land revenue for maintenance of law and order, justice, etc. One of the important committees was the tank committee, which looked after the distribution of water to the fields. Okay, so this also they can ask like what each committee is for. Okay, so tank committee is for like the distribution of waters to the land field. The Mahasabha could settle new lands and exercise ownership rights over them. It could also raise loans for the village and levy taxes. The self-government enjoyed by these Chola villages was a very fine system. To some extent, system worked in other villages as well. However, the growth of local intermediaries tend to restrict their autonomy. Okay, with middlemen, all these people will grow, and that is why it will later maybe spoiled a little bit. But till then, it was like they can do that. They can charge taxes. They can have committees. They will organize everything. They will raise loans. Everything they are doing. Okay, the village is like having that autonomy. Okay, that is why it is very important. The Chola local administration. Now, cultural life. Okay, the extent and resources of the Chola Empire enabled the rulers to build great capitals such as Tanjore, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, Kanchi, etc. The rulers maintained large households and large palaces and banquet halls, spacious gardens and terraces. Thus, we learn of 7 or 5 storied houses for their chiefs. Unfortunately, none of these palaces of the period have survived. The Chola capital, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, is now just a small village near Tanjore. However, descriptions of the magnificent palace of the rulers and their ministers and of equally magnificent houses in which the wealthy merchants lived are to be found. Again, same thing they are saying round and round. Okay, huge palaces and all we understood, but they have, how we are knowing about it is because of the inscriptions. Okay, not because it's existing now. Nothing survived. Okay, most of the things did not survive, but we have proof in the literature. Temple architecture in the south attained its climax under the Cholas. Okay, this also like UPSC will ask as a mains question. Okay, they'll exactly put this statement: temple architecture in the south attained its climax under the Cholas. Elucidate. That is what they'll do. Okay, and you have to write the entire thing which follows. The style of architecture which came into vogue during this period is called Dravida. Okay, Dravida, Nagara temple and all is like plentifully like it's covered in our test series. So you should also learn from any source because it was confined largely in South India. The main feature of the style was the building of story upon story above the chief deity's room. Okay, this Garbhagriha where that main idol or something is placed. Above that, like floor after floor will be there, story after story will be there. So that style was there in this Dravida. The number of stories varied from 5 to 7, and they had a typical style which came to be called the Vimana. Okay, so that if you have already studied, you will know what is Vimana. Okay, a pillared hall called Mandap with elaborately carved pillars and a flat roof was generally placed in front of the sanctum. Okay, so that idol is there in Garbhagriha, then a passage kind of thing is there where pillars are there and a flat roof is there, and that hall is called Mandap. Okay, like this, you try to visualize it. Okay, you will find pictures anyway if you Google, but when you read it also you should be able to relate. If you remember the picture, you can solve any prelims question. Okay, for art and culture. So it acted as an audience hall and was a place for various other activities such as ceremonial dances which were performed by the Devadasis, the woman dedicated to service of the god. Sometimes a passage used to be added around the sanctum so that the devotees could go round it. Okay, like we have nowadays. So images of many other gods could be put in this passage. This entire structure was enclosed in courtyard surrounded by high walls which were pierced by lofty gates called Gopuram. So Gopuram is that big gates, okay, gateway kind of thing. In course of time, the Vimanas rose higher and higher. The number of courtyards were increased to 2 or 3, and the Gopurams also became more and more elaborate. So everything is like increasing or becoming huge. Thus, the temple became a miniature city or a palace with living rooms for priests and many others. Okay, like same like Buddhist viharas and all. This temples also is like becoming big and big where people are also living. The temples generally enjoyed revenue-free grants of lands of their expenses. They also received grants and rich donations from wealthy merchants. Some of the temples became so rich that they entered business, lent money, and took part in business enterprises. They also spend money on improving cultivation, digging wells, tanks. Okay, so the administration and the temple people both are doing these same things. Okay, an early example of the Dravida style of temple architecture is the 8th century temple of Kailasnath at Kanchipuram. Okay, this Kailasnath temple, there are a lot of Kailasnath temples in India, so you should know which we are talking about. Okay, this is in Kanchipuram, which is in the southwest. Okay, one of the finest and most elaborate examples of the style is, however, provided by the Brihadeshwara temple. Okay, so we saw Rajrajeshwara temple, we are seeing Kailasnath temple, Brihadeshwara temple. All these are under Chola Empire. Okay, this is also called the Rajaraja temple. Okay, this Brihadeshwara temple, because the Cholas were in the habit of installing images of kings and queens in the temple in addition to the deity. In the temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram, though in a dilapidated condition, is another fine example of temple architecture under the Cholas. A large number of temples were also built at other places in South India. However, it may be well to remember that the proceeds for some of these activities were obtained from the plunder of the population of neighboring areas. So they are getting wealth by plundering other regions and then building temples here and then praying. Okay, so that is a not a right method, but that is how they did. So after the fall of the Cholas, temple building activity continued under the Chalukyas of Kalyani and the Hoysalas. The district of Dharwar and the Hoysala capital, Halabid, had large number of temples. Okay, the most magnificent of this is the Hoysaleshwara temple. Okay, so here if you see, here it's telling like the temple architecture is like climax under the Cholas. But here another line is like after the fall of Cholas, temple building continued. Okay, so you should not confuse between the two. Don't think like after Cholas nobody built temple. Okay, the architectural skills may be like the evolution stopped here, because after that maybe it's like repetition or like mixing up things. Okay, that is how that's what it means. Okay, so these are again pictures, but more pictures I showed you while doing ancient history class 6 textbook and all, so that will be more elaborate, I think. Okay, so this one also you can pause and see, else you can just Google and do it from CCRT. Okay, you will have color pictures, you will understand better. So it is the best example of what is called the Chalukyan style. Okay, that Hoysaleshwara something. Okay, which we saw. Apart from the image of gods and their attendants, both men and women, Yaksha and Yakshini. Okay, the temples contain finely sculpted panels which show a busy panorama of life, including dance, music, and scenes of war and love. Thus, life was closely integrated with religion. For the common man, the temple was not merely a place of worship, but the hub of social and cultural life as well. Okay, this also is a statement which UPSC will ask. Okay, they'll put the statement and tell elaborate. So you have to tell all these things. The art of sculpture attained a high standard in South India during this period. One example of this was the giant statue of Gomateshwar at Sravanabelgola. Okay, it's in Karnataka. Okay, Gomateshwar. After aspect was image making. Sorry, another aspect was image making, which reached its climax in the dancing figure of the Shiva called Nataraja. Okay, this also was like a weird question when it came in mains. Okay, they asked to explain the Nataraja figure. Okay, because if you have seen the Nataraja picture, you will know it has a lot of things to explain in that, or what each thing symbolizes. So that is how UPSC is. How much ever you read, you will read this textbook, everything and go, but UPSC will shock you in the exam hall by asking much more in depth. Okay, so that is why I told, be prepared, or at least start preparing from now in detail. Nataraja figures of this period, particularly those in bronze, are considered masterpieces. Many fine examples of this are to be found in the museums in India and outside. The rulers of the various dynasties also patronized arts and letters during this period. While Sanskrit was regarded as a language of high culture, and number of kings as well as scholars and court poets wrote in it, a remarkable feature of this period was the growth of literature in the language of the areas. A number of popular saints called Nayanas and Alvas, okay, that is Shivaites and Vishnu people, okay, that's why Nayanas and Alvas, it's different terms, okay, flourished in this Tamil area between the 6th and 9th century. They composed 6th and 9th, so it's like before this, okay, before Chola. They composed their works in Tamil and other language of the area. The writings of these saints, which were collected into 11 volumes under the name Tirumurais in the early part of the 12th century, are considered sacred and are looked upon as the 5th Veda. Okay, so this Tirumurais is considered as the 5th Veda, which is 11 volume writings, okay, of the saints in Tamil language. Okay, so this is how you backtrack everything. Okay, these people, Nayanas, Alvas, regional language, 11 volumes, Tirumurai, 5th Veda. Okay, the age of Kamban, who is placed in the second half of the 11th and early part of the 12th century, is regarded as a golden age in Tamil literature. Okay, Kamban's Ramayana is considered a classic in Tamil literature. Kamban is believed to have lived at the court of Chola king. Okay, so this again is a way of like UPSC question. Okay, they will ask contemporary. Like Kamban was contemporary to Rashtrakuta ruler. He was contemporary to Mughal rulers. They will simply put some other kingdom there. Okay, you should know. So Kamban you have studied in the Chola chapter. Okay, so he wrote the Ramayana, also one version of Ramayana. So many others took their themes from the Ramayana and Mahabharata, thus bringing these classics nearer to the people. Though younger than Tamil, Kannada also became a literary language during this period. The Rashtrakuta, the Chalukya and the Hoysala rulers patronized Kannada as well as Telugu. The Rashtrakuta king Amogavarsha wrote a book on poetics in Kannada. Many Jain scholars also contributed to the growth of Kannada. Pampa, Ponna, Ranna are regarded as the three gems of Kannada poetry. Okay, this I remember we have a detailed revision charts of what these people did, what were their books and all. Although they were under the influence of Jainism, they also wrote on themes taken from the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Nannaya, who lived at the court of Chalukyan king, began the Telugu version of the Mahabharata. Okay, so again, Kamban is Ramayana, this Nannaya is Mahabharata. He was Chola and he is Chalukyan. So these are the things which you basically pick up. Okay, just from one page they are taking all these things and making questions for you. So please make a note now itself. Okay, Kamban Ramayana and Nannaya Mahabharata. Okay, because this is what we also make MCQs. Okay, this is how we frame MCQs. We pick up each and everything which we feel relevant. That is why we keep insisting you to get a test series or prelims at least. Okay, because we cannot guarantee for mains, because mains is a huge thing. Still, your writing skills can be improved, but prelims is something where we are picking up things based on our reading from standard books only. Okay, so try to get them whenever you feel like solving MCQs. So again, next name is like the work begun by him was completed in the 13th century by Tikkanna. Like the Tamil Ramayana and the Telugu Mahabharata is a classic which inspired many subsequent writers. Okay, so these are all classics. Okay, so Kamban, this Pampa, Ponna, Ranna, Nannaya, Tikkanna. Okay, all these are people at this time, 11th, 12th, 13th centuries. Okay. Many folk or popular themes are also to be found in these literatures. Popular themes which are not derived from Sanskrit and which reflect popular sentiments and emotions are called Desi or rural in Telugu. Okay, so that's how it mentioned if it's not derived from Sanskrit. We can thus see that the period from the 8th to 12th century was not only remarkable for political integration in South India but also for cultural development. Trade and commerce also flourished during the period and agriculture expanded, making it one of the great periods in history of South India. Okay. Now these exercise which you give questions, you will be thinking like it's like 10th standard, 11th standard questions, but UPSC will take exactly these things and modify it a little bit. Okay, so try to pause it and read it and see whether you're able to at least guess in and around some 5-6 points related to each of these. If not, again watch this video, again make notes, and before the exam prepare it again. Okay, I mean glance it again. Better it will be like you should solve the test. Okay, both prelims and mains, but else do it your own way, whichever way you do. Okay, so this chapter also be completed. Next chapter will be this one, economic and social life. So it's going to be again 800 to 1200 AD. Okay, so again we'll see that whenever I have time I record it. So meanwhile, at least focus on whatever I told you in the beginning of this video, because it's all told because prelims is nearing. Okay, we don't want students to still giving us poll results which I showed you. Okay, it's not okay. This one, like I don't want students to again tell like I have no idea or I have not started mains. I'm by hearting just prelims. You should ideally be in this first option. Okay, like I was doing mains preparation till now and slowly shifting to prelims. So if you see out of 100%, only 27% are doing it. Okay, remaining people are having a totally different strategy, which according to us is not the right one. Okay, so please at least do it right now. Okay, because mains anyway you can't go back now. So start your prelims. Start focusing more. Okay, at least from Jan 1st you have to fully dedicate to prelims and solve MCQs. Okay, so I'll come up with the next video soon. This video got lengthy because I had to do all this extra talking to you. So anyway, leave your comments if you found it useful, else we'll directly go to lectures from now. Okay, so thank you and have a nice day.